consultant. Still working on it.
Here we go.
It's now 6 o'clock. I'm your mayor, John Penny, and we go ahead and call this meeting to order. Val, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Snow? Yes. Commissioner Curry?
Here.
Commissioner Delanoy?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Penny?
Here. Now, if everyone would please silence any electronic devices that you may have that might make noise. And at this time, I'm going to call up Dr. Reverend Wiley Lowe to do our invocation. So everyone please rise and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
What an honor.
Mr. Mayor, honored city officials, dear citizens of Holly Hill, and a special acknowledgement to the law enforcement that is here that has kept us so safe. Thank you for the 45 minutes you've given me to share. No, but it is a word of appreciation that we come here tonight, and with prayers lifted for the future, that 2025 will be the best year ever for Holly Hill. As you stand here tonight for just these few moments, it was back in 1763, this was Palmetto Point, and the wonderful Native Americans who have such a rich history here were joined by eventually Europeans. And this part that was very much unsettled saw folks from Europe coming here, both from Spain and from England. And eventually there was a family that would arrive, the Flemings, who loved the area, the rich green that we have around us, the beautiful waterway, and they said it reminded them of their home outside of Belfast, Ireland, called Holly Hill. And thus we attained the name. And so many of those folks changed the very area. We may not be aware of how they even affect us today. The streets that were numbered, the horse-drawn ways, the cow paths were named with 1, 2, 3, and 4, and eventually they would begin to take on the names of the people that would settle here. Even Flomich Avenue, some folks from other parts of Florida came here to settle, and folks from Michigan came here to settle, and they couldn't settle on a name, so they decided to take Florida and Michigan and created Flomich. Go back to that moment and realize all those people changed and made this city what it is today, and you're still doing the very thing. But my favorite road here is Rosalie Drive in Holly Hill, where I still have a home. It was my grandmother's farm. And before that, it was my great-grandmother's. And her log cabin was there. We've had about 9 generations of family that have grown up in Holly Hill. And now as I have that land, I realize I'm still a part of that history. Even in the record today, your presence today, you're making history. And Rosalie Drive is special to me because my great-grandmother's log cabin was there. Eva Rosalie Carter. So there is a great sense of hope for this future, for all that's ahead. And I pray in the coming days, long after we're gone, that you as honorably and as wonderfully will bear those names, leaving those imprints on history and making it a better place than you found it. So it's my prayer tonight that God blesses you. Would you pray with me? Holy Father, it is a prayer of thanksgiving for the countless generations that have gone before us to lay the foundations of this city. And now, as even history is being made tonight in the city record, we pray that those who are taking that leadership position, whether it's Mayor Penny himself, the honored city officials, the citizens that work hard and call this home, and thank God for the law enforcement that continues to be so honorable and diligent and strong and brave to protect and serve. We pray, Holy Father, that the coming year will be the best year ever, that we will do great things, and that we will continue to press forward in the place that we call home. Give each person here exactly what's needed, even the things that aren't spoken aloud that are on their hearts tonight. Watch over them, protect them, especially those that serve us, that lead us. May we support them as we support each other and grow our city. We lift this up in your holy name. And amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Wes.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that invocation, Dr. Lowe.
Yes, that was really nice.
So at this time, we have a few presentations, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to Chief, if you want to come up. And if the commission would like to go down in the audience during this time, there's going to be a backdrop, and you're not going to be able to see anything. They're going to bring it up here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chief Williams, Holly Hill Police Department. I'm in a happy place tonight to continue when I stand before you to swear in another officer here at the Holly Hill Police Department. Tonight, I look to swear in tonight Officer Laura Burke. She can come up tonight. So Officer Bird, she was born here and raised here in Florida and began a law enforcement career as a dispatcher in 2006. She graduated from UCF with a Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice and continued to build her career working several years with the Daytona Beach Police Department. Lori's area of expertise is animal crimes, and she has a passion for rescuing pit bull terriers. She has worked several cases for me, and she has done an exceptional job at breaking some serious animal cruelty cases, and she's very passionate about animals, and that's one of the things I like about her. She's a go-getter, and she puts everything she has into whatever assignment she's given to do. So family in attendance tonight is several friends and former colleagues that came to support her, and presenting the badge tonight would be Officer Will Levasseur from the Daytona Beach Police Department. Oh, have her back. Come on, Officer Levasseur. You're supposed to know how to do this.
There you go. Almost there. 15 minutes of fame. There we go.
Congratulations, Officer Bird. A couple more things to do. You can raise your right hand for me. Repeat after me. I, Laura Bird,
I, Lori Bird,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States
that I will support, protect, and defend the government of the United States
and of the state of Florida,
and of the state of Florida,
that I am duly qualified
that I am duly qualified,
to hold office under the Constitution of the state of Florida
that I am qualified to hold office under the state of Florida
and the charter of the city of Holly Hill,
and the charter of the city of Holly Hill,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of the office of police officer
the duties of the office of police officer
of the city of Holly Hill,
of the city of Holly Hill,
which I am now about to enter.
which I am now about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. So I just have a couple things to say real quick before we move. So in Holly Hill, we're committed to vision of policing. That is not just about enforcement, but it's also about partnerships. We work to be visible in our neighborhoods, responsive to the concerns of residents, and proactive in finding solutions to issues before they escalate. And I'm going to challenge you tonight to bring such a mindset to this job. Yeah, it is a privilege to wear a badge for the city of Holly Hill. And that privilege carries the weight of responsibility. Not just to uphold the law, but to uphold the trust of the communities that you're going to serve. People will look unto you at the moments of fear and vulnerability and how you respond, and will leave a lasting impact on their lives. So never underestimate the influence that you're going to have out there on the streets. And we wish you well as you're going to represent yourself. I have trust in and support of you that you're going to represent well the city of Hollywood and the police department. So, welcome aboard.
Okay, Commission, unfortunately, you have to come back and do your job now.
Just a one-person ceremony.
We're gonna just pause for a minute and let everyone exit that needs to, that doesn't want to sit through the rest of the meeting. Okay, so we have another presentation in regards to 1088 10th Street. Is the applicant here? No?
Where are we? What public comments from?
I'll let you know, sir. So I don't see anyone for that presentation. So we're going to now move to item 2, which is public comments. Would anyone from the audience like to address the commission on anything not on a regular agenda? Polly? Yes, ma'am. You come on up and state your name and your city that you live in, and you have 3 minutes.
3?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
I'm Polly Capuccio, president of the Holly Hill Historic Museum that moved to Sickle Hall in April. And the first thing I want to tell everybody here is that the city was offering us to share some facilities with Pictona Pickleball in the library building. But we had vision, and we just saw them outgrowing the space and us too. So one day, I crossed the street and talked to Joe about letting us move into the Sickle Hall Community Center in 2 extra rooms, which we moved from 1,200 square feet to almost 2,400. It doubled our space, and I just wanted to come here and tell you and represent the folks on our board of the museum and our staff how much this has meant to us. The display area doubled in space. And donations came in. They wanted to see their articles displayed. For our open house, we had 120 people come to our open house. It's overwhelming what it has done for us. I have a note so I don't forget to bring things up. Just the road sign outside. Coming in, it was all lit up in the dark, and it said Holly Hill Museum, History Museum. People have seen that sign. They come in. We've gained members. We've gained visitors. The exposure at Sickle Hall and all the events that they have, we try to stay open, and we've gained a lot of visitors from that. Then we have storage rooms. We have display showcases that we can show more. Our research area has doubled, and it is the most used area that people come in to see. They want to see their high school friends, and it's a wonderful area. We have a stage area. We have a bigger gift shop. The welcoming entrance is so, for lack of a better word, more professional, and all the people at Sickle Hall come in there and see us and know we're there. We've gained visitors, members, donations, and items for the gift shop. And to tell you the truth, the new location, the visibility to the community is an absolute blood infusion to us. We've almost doubled. It is amazing. We've gained respect from the local community. We've got the respect from the historical community. The New Smyrna Beach Museum, the Ormond Beach, even the Halifax. So I wanted to tell you how much we appreciate letting us move here. And all of my members with me, they all want to say the same thing.
Well, thank you, Polly. We
Is
appreciate
my 3
you.
minutes up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, you get the message.
We appreciate you and all your board members and volunteers, and I might suggest that you reach out to Dr. Lowe that did the invocation, because I think he's quite the historian on Holly Hill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that'd like to address the commission? Yes, sir.
My name is Gabriel Varga. I'm the pastor of the Ridgewood Avenue Baptist Church and the Daytona Rescue Mission, 501 Ridgewood Avenue. I reside at 1226 Gamble Place, Daytona Beach, Florida. The reason I'm here this evening is that Mayor Penny, primarily, and other city officials have violated the First Amendment rights of this pastor and of our church. Of freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom to bring our complaints to you. Mr. Penny met with me a couple of years ago. He was the commissioner of Zone 1, who Ms. Snow is now. Haven't had a chance to talk with her, don't know much about her. He stood in my parking lot and said he didn't recognize me as part of Holly Hill, that I didn't own the business here, that I didn't live here, and he wouldn't plan on talking to me from then on, and he hasn't. At one time, I think out here in Forte. You violated our First Amendment rights, you and others here, and you stepped over the line. And if it continues, there will be legal action brought against this city. I've said what our religion stands for. It's different. Publicly in this quarters, right here, it's been said that I don't represent what a pastor is. Who are you to determine what a pastor is? I follow a trail of blood for centuries, and because you don't agree with it or others don't from this city, you have no right to make judgment on it. As a personal person, you can. Any of you can. We may differ. Forte's a Catholic. I'm a Baptist. We differ. Okay? But you have no right to steal our rights, our First Amendment rights. And if you go on any longer doing it, You're being watched, and things will be taken for them. So thank you for it, so be warned.
Bless your heart, Mr. Varga. Is there anyone else that'd like to speak? Mr. Legary?
Good evening. Jim Legare. I'm going to play something.
What's your address?
And I hope Mr. Vargas'
We gotta have your
hearing
address.
aids are working.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was moving across the face of the waters. It's an oral history that's handed down, father to son, word of mouth, from Adam to Seth, from Seth to Enos, from Enos to Canaan, for 40 generations, a growing, changing story, handed down, word of mouth, father to son. Till Moses gets it down on lambskin, but lambskins wear out. They need to be recopied. So you have copies of 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 an oral history, passed down through 40 generations. From Hebrew, it's translated to Arabic, from Arabic to Greek, from Greek to Latin, from Latin to Russian, from Russian to German, from German to an old form of English that you could not read. Through 400 years of evolution of the English language, the book we have today, which is translation of a 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 copy 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 of an oral history passed down through 40 generations. You can't put a grocery list through that many translations, copies, and retellings, and not get some big changes to the dinner menu when the kids make it home from Earth Fair. And yet people are killing each other over this written word. Here's a tip. If you're killing somebody in the name of God, you are missing the message.
I spoke with Varga some time back and asked him what Bible he believed in. And he said, there is but one. I disagree with that. I want to close with saying that on his deathbed, Thoreau's aunt asked him if he was right with God. He replied, I didn't know we were quarreling.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the audience like to address the commission this evening?
Danielle Latona, 904 Newcastle Court. I have a series of questions that I'm going to leave a copy with the mayor that I'm requesting be answered by the next meeting, which I'm assuming is a month from now, since the 24th would be Christmas Eve. So I think that's ample time to have questions answered. I'll read them. Who is the emergency manager for the city of Holly Hill? Why do we not have emergency management system, knowing the amount of flooding your constituents face? When will you start implementing an emergency system? When are you applying for federal assistance to mitigate floods? And if there are some that are already done, they can be answered with that question. Have you applied for mitigation grants to solve some of these issues? If you have applied, did we receive funds? What are the funds being used for? The buyout program requires the city to present the plan to the state. Then the state moves forward with FEMA. So in case people didn't know how it happened, I went to FEMA to get the answers directly. While I was at FEMA, I was disgusted to learn that we don't have a lot of these things like an emergency management system. When I know since 2009, my house has flooded 4 times. I think that's ample time. I'd like to know if we have a comprehensive emergency management plan. Disaster Case Management Services. And if people aren't familiar with it, please go to deltonafl.gov, because the city of Deltona, their website is unbelievable as far as the services that are provided, as far as the information that their residents can get. And if we can't do that in a city that has less residents, then it's time for the residents of this city to look at new leadership. I've been patient, as many of my other neighbors have been patient, and I think it's just time that our consideration is being taken serious. And I hope you all had a Thanksgiving, a good Thanksgiving, because many of us, for Thanksgiving, we're living in unlivable homes. We're cutting 2x4s and fern strips and drywall and eating out of the freezer. And I think that's pretty sad.
Thank you. Daniel, would you leave those questions with the city clerk?
Well said, well
Because
said.
I did it at work real quick, so I will give them to you, or give them to Valerie.
Give them to Valerie.
Okay.
I think we're having technical difficulties with the microphone. Anyone else in the audience like to address the commission this evening?
I can hear it.
I don't think it's that loud.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's not that loud. Yeah.
Cheryl Palumbo at 1560 Decatur Avenue. I just wanted to thank you all for a good Christmas parade. It was so nice to see all of you in the parade. I know it wasn't very long, it didn't go very far, but it was nice to have it, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's my microphone.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Hello.
My name is Daniel Alderette, and I live at 714 Grove Avenue. So, we sit up here, we come and listen to y'all tell us how much you care. We don't see evidence of it, because caring takes action, not just words. And so, for a display of action, to help y'all understand, think of the town, not the people, but the town itself, as a newborn baby. You don't go bring a baby home and have nothing. You go out, you shop, you prepare. Then if you bring the baby home and you neglect it, guess what happens? That baby's going to scream. You have a hall full of people constantly screaming because you've neglected this town. You may not think it, but let me help you see it. If you go, because there's one thing we all need to care about, it's Pictona. You're very proud of Pictona. Brag about how people from all over the world come up to Pictona. So go to the airport, plug Pictona in, and take your little map and look at your town. Because the places that are not maintained are owned by the city of Holly Hill, because I've looked it up and I've done the research. All you gotta do is bring up a property appraiser's page, click on the map, and click at places. Click in front of people's houses, and you'll see the city owns those properties. If that person that came from another country loved Pictona so much, maybe they would drive to Walmart. Take that drive. See what that looks like. Because again, it's unmaintained property owned by the city of Holly Hill. But guess what? That person really loves Pictona, and they look at their map, they can be like, oh, there's a golf course. Let's go check out the golf course. Then they drive around the neighborhood attached to the golf course. That neighborhood is maintained by the city of Ormond Beach. So then let's buy property. But they're not gonna buy it here. When the city looks the way it does, by the city that owns it. And if people are gonna use that property that they pay taxes on, that you've decided that because it sits in front of their property, they should maintain it, they have a right to treat it that way because it is their property. Their tax dollars are paying for it, and now you've said you have to maintain it. If that's the case, you should have just deeded it to them. So, along with the Thanksgiving, we have Christmas coming up. And once again, because none of y'all flooded, because you like to remind us of that, some of us did. And as soon as Christmas is over, our houses have to be packed up. or some of us aren't in our houses for Christmas. We're displaced from the holidays, but y'all aren't, because you've reminded us that none of y'all flooded. So it's time to like stop all like we care and put some actions behind your word and start maintaining what the city pays taxes for and what you're in charge of to take care of.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience? Yes, ma'am, in the front.
Good evening. I'm Claire Bullen, live at 711 Grove Avenue. What a devastating area to live in right now, and it has been since Ian. This is the second time we were flooded. The canal is right behind us. We have trees that came down over our fence into our property from the canal. It seems to be unmaintained. It's never dredged. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Our sewers back up, our lines back up, and we had sewage in our home. I'm not sure why that is, how that happened. I didn't hear that that was the case after Ian. It's the second flood we've lived through. It's really disparaging. I'm not really sure what to do. Can you guys lift my house? Can you give me some dirt to replace everything that's been taken away? Can you do something for us, please? I had to pay $3,300 just to get the trees removed. We've got fencing to repair. It wasn't even our trees. And I'm a little upset. And yes, we didn't spend Thanksgiving at home. We're probably not going to spend Christmas at home. And in the future, I don't even know if I want this to be my home. I mean, why? Who's going to help us? Who's going to take care of some of this? I mean, I know we're in a flood zone, but this is now a precedent. It's not a once in 100-year flood or whatever we were told after Ian. This is now a precedent, and we need help. We need help somehow from the city to manage that area. Our streets and the local neighborhoods have been an absolute looking like a war zone or a dump. Might as well have just been a dump. Now, FEMA has come by a couple of times and taken away everything that we've been trying to salvage and take down trees and take down walls and throw out cabinets and everything else. And now we still have stuff left in our yard and FEMA's done. So I'm hoping at least the city of Holly Hill will send out a cherry picker and pick up the rest of the stuff that's left in my yard that I spent hours today trying to organize so that it will be taken care of. Fed up. I don't know where the flooding's coming from, why it's all so new. He lived here for 12 years, never had a flood. Then we bought the house. Now we've been flooded twice. So something's going on with the infrastructure, with all the building. I'm not sure how it happens, but can you guys please at least send somebody out to pick up the rest of my junk and then maybe give me some dirt from the cities, from somewhere, so we can replace what we've lost, because we've lost a lot. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience like to address the commission tonight? Okay, seeing no hands, we're going to go ahead and close public comments. Last year, this commission's #1 priority was the police department. And thanks to our chief, you saw tonight we swore in a new officer, and I think our police department is well on the right path to getting to where we need to be. But with the recent storms, the #1 priority of this commission is going to be infrastructure and flooding. And it's a very complicated issue. I don't know where all the water's coming from either. Mr. Forte and I have toured the canals. The canal system is very intricate. It's very complicated because the county is responsible for some of it and we're responsible for some of it. We have a meeting in January, I think the 13th, Mr. Forte, somewhere around there, first or second week in January, to go to the county and meet with them and talk about who's responsible for what and how do we fix it. We are hiring an engineer firm to come in and analyze. We just got the first study back, vulnerability study that was done for us. We'll be discussing that in January at a workshop. We'll also be then hiring a consultant to go citywide and find out. We know where it floods. We know where all the stuff is in front of the houses. Those houses flooded. But we need to compare that with the data that the engineers provide us and then figure out how are we going to solve this problem. Mr. Forte and I went to the county at 2 meetings ago, and we did receive a grant from the city, from the county, to help address some of these issues. But it's very complicated, and it's not going to happen overnight, unfortunately. It's going to take a while. We need to make sure that whatever we do, we don't just throw good money after bad. We want to make sure that what we're doing is providing a fix to 2050 and beyond. Not just, it flooded on this cul-de-sac, let's fix that cul-de-sac. We need to see where all these canals come from, where the ponds drain to, where they overflow into, and it's a very complicated system. But it is my number one priority, and I think I speak for the commission that it's going to be our number one priority. Certainly the next year, but the next 4 years that I sit here, it's going to be a number one priority till we get some answers. You deserve answers, but it's just not as easy as flipping a switch. And so unfortunately, it's going to take more time than any of us want to admit. But I'm just trying to be as honest as possible and as transparent as possible. We are working on it.
Mayor, I think it's important to mention we have gone after grant money for the relining that we've been doing for several years now, and also the new BTU that's going in to help with all of this. So we have been doing things. It has not been enough. And like the mayor said, I know, I said, I don't know, a month or two ago that it was my priority for my last 2 years in office. So I hear you, and I'm sorry that it can't go faster.
We have, we could talk after the meeting, I just can't, I'm sorry, for decorum, I have to not answer back and forth. But on tonight's agenda, we're talking about approving $1 million towards water. I know that doesn't, what we're talking about, but those are water lines. We're also talking about $400,000 spending on backflow preventers on Riverside Drive. So we're taking steps, and it's not as if the city and the county have just sat back and done nothing. There's been millions of dollars spent over the past few years, but the problem is that our city didn't have the luxury. You heard Dr. Lowe talk about how the city was developed. It was developed without codes, without zoning, without elevation reports, without engineers. And if we were designing the city today, we would have bigger pipes. We'd have newer pipes. We'd be Palm Coast. Palm Coast flooded. That's a brand new community to us anyway. So it's a complicated issue, but we are working on it, and any one of us is accessible to talk to you one-on-one at any time about it. So we'll go ahead, and anyone else have any comments? So we'll go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. I'm sorry, approval of the minutes of the November 12th, 2024 regular commission and the swearing-in ceremony.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Sir, it's not your time to speak right now. It's not your time. It's not your time.
Out.
It's not your time to speak right now, sir.
Pardon me?
It's not your time to speak.
Well, are you on the consent agenda?
No, sir, we are not.
Okay, well, let me know when you're there, because I want to go on number 4.
If you keep bursting out, I'm going to ask you to leave. This meeting has to be run with proper decorum, and if you keep interrupting me, I'm going to ask you to leave. You've been warned. All in favor of approving the minutes? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? It carries unanimously. We are now moving to the consent agenda. Action proposed is stated.
There you go.
I broke it when I sat there, I think.
And the chair, too.
The action proposed is stated for each item on the consent agenda. Unless the city commissioner removes any item from the consent agenda, no discussion on individual items will occur, and a single motion will approve all items. Is there any commissioner want to remove any from the consent agenda?
I'm going to remove 4 just so we can discuss it and have correct information on it.
Okay.
Number 4. I want to talk on number 4.
So we've removed item 4 from the consent agenda, and we'll be discussing it, and I'll let you know when you can talk about it.
I'll get 3 minutes. I think.
All in favor of approving the consent agenda?
You don't have a motion yet.
I'm losing it.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I want to speak
Any
on
opposed?
item 4.
Sorry, he's been warned.
Hey, wait a minute.
He's been warned.
Sir,
He's been warned.
sir,
4 was removed. They're going to talk about it, all right? Can you hear me?
Oh, you removed it?
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell it?
We already told you 3 times. I'm
He's
just
been
trying to-
warned.
We are now going to talk about item 4, okay? And you'll, as the mayor said, he will let you know when you can speak,
They removed
which
it.
happens to be not now,
He's a moron.
all right?
Secret society.
Yeah.
Chief, if the gentleman in the front row continues, we're going to adjourn the meeting and we're going to ask him to leave, okay? Commissioner Kerr, you have the floor to discuss item 4 on the
Thank you.
consent agenda.
I pulled item 4 so that we could get the correct information to the public about what the creation of the Holly Hill Business Association actually is. So, Mr. Forte, do you mind explaining that?
Sure, let me read the, yeah. Val, you can pull that discussion item up. So due to the closure of the Holly Hill Chamber of Commerce, the city staff is proposing the creation of the City of Holly Hill Business Association to reestablish a connection between city staff, elected officials, and the local business community. The association will be open to all businesses free of charge, offering a valuable platform for engagement and collaboration. Bi-monthly meetings will be networked opportunities, city updates, and guest speakers offering insights.
Joe, is your mic on? Because I can't hear
We
you.
can't hear you, Joe.
It is, I don't know why.
You're going to have,
System.
yeah.
You have to use Scott's microphone.
Speak up and don't mumble.
I'm not mumbling.
Sir, if you keep interrupting the meeting, I'm going to ask you to leave.
That's 3.
Bi-monthly meetings will provide networking opportunities, city updates, and guest speakers offering insights relevant to local business communities. A bi-monthly e-newsletter will also keep businesses informed about upcoming events, useful resources, and important city news. The goal of the Business Association is to strengthen the relationship between the city and its business community. Through this initiative, staff seeks to promote collaboration, innovation, and sustained growth, fostering a welcoming environment that attracts both visitors and new businesses to Holly Hill. The mission of the Business Association is to cultivate a vibrant business ecosystem that supports entrepreneurship and business development while strengthening community connections and contributing to the city's economic development. The reason we're doing this is about last January, the Chamber of Commerce closed its doors. The Chamber of Commerce is an independent organization. It has nothing to do with the City of Holly Hill, other than it's the City of Holly Hill's chamber. Due to their operations, their funding, their fundraising, they weren't able to sustain, so they decided to close the doors. In the meantime, we refer our businesses to either the Daytona Beach Chamber of Commerce or the Ormond Beach Chamber of Commerce. This week, the mayor and I met with the Ormond Beach Chamber of Commerce just to maintain that relationship. So although businesses that are members of those respective chambers have an opportunity to deal with chambers in the businesses, in the business that they do, there's no relationship right now between the City of Holly Hill and its businesses. So my thought was that we create this business association, and it's not a formal name, it's not an LLC, it's just a title that we've given it at this point, is to develop a relationship between the local government and its businesses. It gives us an opportunity to meet with them on a bi-monthly basis. We'll have subject matter that we want to talk about. We may have the programs that we introduce to them. We may want to hear their concerns and try to address issues that they may have. It's an opportunity to just build a relationship between the city and the business community that currently doesn't exist because we are without a chamber. I've asked Amy, our Economic Development and Community Development Manager, to head this task up. She's handled similar responsibilities in other cities that she's worked for, and I think it's a good opportunity for us to build and develop that new relationship. There's no cost to this. It's not like a chamber membership where they have to pay dues. It's not a fundraising organization. It's simply an opportunity to collaborate between business and local government.
Thank you.
And I think that's important. Thank you. That's all I needed, was you just to clarify what that was.
Any other commissioners have any questions for staff on this issue?
Pretty clear, pretty clear.
Anyone from the audience like to discuss item 4 on the consent agenda? Mr. Legary.
What'd you say? You say you were going to speak on it now?
Mr. Legary.
Okay, good. I'll be next.
Jim Legary, 342 Burley. It says that there's going to be newsletters and so forth, and I'm wondering what the budget is going to be.
Right now, there is no budget assigned to it, but the intention is that we would initially start an electronic version of a newsletter. And is it okay that I answer this?
Yeah.
We don't typically do that, sorry. We'd send it out by email, and then when we do put a budget together, we'll be able to mail it out. But the newsletter wouldn't be strictly to businesses, it would go out citywide.
So there's not going to be coffee or pizza or anything like that?
No,
at
Big
the
John's
meetings
not
with
here
the
anymore.
Pictona?
No.
No, scrambled eggs in your backyard, Legary.
Right. Bring some toast.
I'll bring the orange juice.
Mr. Varga, you would like to speak about this item?
3 minutes? I'll have to tell you where I live again.
You need to state your name. You need to state your name and the city you live in.
Gabriel Varga, pastor of Ridgewood Avenue Baptist Church, Daytona Rescue Mission. Residence is 1226 Gamble Place, Daytona Beach, Florida. I asked for the pages of this number 4 on the consent agenda, and your one cooperative, Valerie Manning, said I had to bring $93 down here and pay it before I could get a couple of pages. I said, you better redo your figuring, Valerie. I was very clear what I asked for.
Mayor,
Here, it's
I
$1.20.
think this is off topic of the consent agenda item.
$93. Now, that's what kind of cooperation I get. But let me just say this. Who ever heard of a city that, how on earth could they walk away from this and quit? Have you ever heard of that anywhere? Yes. We're a city, they name no person, they say the meetings will be at Pictona. No structure, no nothing. How sad. 50 years that business organization was here. They've left because of your inadequate leadership.
And your support.
How terrible. How terrible that this has happened. And now the city has to have their own business thing run by Pictona, who you threw them out of where they were, so Pictona could come in. And threw out the Historic Society, so Pictona could come in. So Pictona's gonna be, you probably make Hangar back here, he'll probably be the head of your business people. You made him a multi-millionaire for his inside trading.
Sir, stay on topic.
And you're
We're talking about,
I'm on the topic.
no, you're not.
On
It's
the
not
business
a lie.
community, and the business community of why these good businesses left this city and left you here. Look at her bobblehead going again. Now listen. Pictona has destroyed this city, and you officials have destroyed this city. It's time for a change. They won't give me any answers. We want to have an election to term limit.
Mayor, I would like us to stay on topic with this item, please.
Business, yeah, business community. Pictona's going to run it, and probably Hangar will be the president, and some of your other win-win situations, like your millionaire friend from Marketplace, you gave it to him. Yeah.
Bless your heart, sir. Anyone else like to discuss item 4 on the agenda? Yes, ma'am.
Danielle O'Connor, Holly Hill, Florida. I'm actually was excited to see that we're gonna have a chamber,
It's not going to be a
well,
chamber.
a business association, for businesses in the city. But my question is, if it passes on a resolution tonight that we do this, and there's no budget, how do we know what the cost is down the line? Shouldn't we know what the cost is before something gets implemented?
We have to start, and then if we are going to spend money at it, we will establish a budget and do a budget amendment at that time.
Okay, but my question is, if the resolution passes, then that means it moves forward.
There's no additional staff being hired to do this. Amy's going to take it on, we're going to dump it on her.
Well, that's good. Good for Amy.
And
But I,
there's no additional monies being spent.
so my question is, let's just say a month from now, this passes, the resolution passes, and then the budget is $10,000, and then that doesn't pass. Then what happens to the resolution? I guess maybe I'm saying it wrong.
If we determine that there's a cost associated with it and we don't amend the budget, then it will go away.
Okay. And then I think my biggest concern is, if it is a concern, and let me stress, I have nothing against Pictona. I know many people that go there, my boss lives there practically. So but my concern is if we're putting city, this would be part of the city, right? Right? And we're involving ourselves in, how do you become impartial when you have to vote maybe something against that has to do with Pictona? When
Pictona is ours.
They have no voting authority. This is just to get together
I understand that.
Ace Hardware and,
I understand that, but it still forms a relationship, because it's so, if something happens, then you just walk away from there, is what I'm saying?
Pictona has nothing to do with it.
That's just-
Why do you think Pictona has anything to do with it? Just because he said it doesn't mean it's true.
I'm asking that question.
Nothing he says is true.
Meetings are being held.
No, the meetings will start
Okay,
right
that's it.
right.
Nothing he says is true.
And-
I was trying to clarify what was
And
being said.
Pictona-
I said it wrong.
Pictona belongs to
the city.
you, me,
Absolutely.
everybody else out here.
I was just trying to, maybe I said it wrong, I was just trying to clarify what was already
One
said.
person hates
To
Pictona.
see where it was happening.
Did that
That's all.
clear it up?
clarified.
Okay.
Yes, that clarified.
Sorry, Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Hanger.
Robert Hanger, 950 Ridgewood Avenue. If there is a budget needed, I believe I can collect some money from a few of the businesses around to help fund to start it for the first year, and then we'll go from there. So I'd be willing to do that. I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to discuss item 4 on the consent agenda? Seeing no more further discussion, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda item 4.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'd just like to clarify some things. Often things are said in public meetings and aren't fact-checked. When someone requests a public record, they go through the city clerk, and she does her best to comply with those rules. There was mention that it was a $90-something charge. We have to pay. The request was for the copy of the agenda. I think our agenda is 625 pages long tonight. So if you have to pay for that copying, that's what it is. There was a further request for just a few pages, and I think it's 15 cents a page or something like that. But just because someone comes up and tells you that we're meeting at Pictona or tells you that the sky is falling, doesn't make it true. We have to let people say whatever they want to for 3 minutes during audience participation, and then we're supposed to keep them to 3 minutes on topic of the discussion we have on the agenda items. I apologize for letting it go a little off topic, but sometimes you just have to let people talk and talk themselves out and prove themselves to the people that are here listening that they may or may not know what they're talking about. So, all in favor of item 4, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. We'll now move to our regular agenda, which is Resolution 2024-R-101.
Resolution number 2024-R-101 by title only for first and only reading. Resolution of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, amending the fiscal year 2024-2025 annual operating budget, appropriating carryover funds and donations received from the fiscal year 2023-2024 to the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget, setting forth revenues and expenditures, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Anything to add, Joe?
Yeah, so Mayor, the City of Holly Hill appropriated funds for projects prior to the commencement of the fiscal year 2025, which were incomplete. They weren't finished by September of 2024. The resolution will carry over funds into the new fiscal year to fund projects that began prior to the fiscal year, the current fiscal year, but were incomplete by September 30th, 2024. The funds were unencumbered as of September 30th, but appropriated for the specific projects. The Police Department received restricted donations for back-to-school and toy drive activities totaling $2,405 in 2024. The resolution will carry those funds into the new fiscal year for the expenditures relating to those activities. The resolution also carries over $205,099.20 in funds for expenditures relating to Hurricane Milton, replacement of equipment damaged by Hurricane Milton, $5,099.20 of public assistance consulting services of $200,000. So Michelle is here. If you have any other questions, she'll be able to address those.
Anyone have any questions for Joe or for our Finance Department? Anyone from the audience like to discuss Resolution 2024-R-101? Seeing no, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion needed? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Now we'll move to Resolution 2024-R-102.
Resolution 2024-R-102 by title only for first and only reading. Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, approving an agreement with Tetra Tech, Inc. to provide disaster public assistance consulting services for Hurricane Milton in an amount not to exceed $200,000 and authorizing the city manager to execute the same, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
So after Hurricane Milton, we have P&J did the debris collection, and Tetra Tech was the monitoring company. Once this is all done and we start to file reimbursements from FEMA, in the years past, many years ago, we used to file it ourselves. It was met with some problems, some delays, some complications. So now there are consultants that will do the filing for the reimbursement of the funds from FEMA. We went out to bid, and the most appropriate responsible bidder was Tetra Tech again this year. So Tetra Tech was involved with us for Hurricane Ian reimbursements, and we'd like to engage with them to do the filing for reimbursements for Hurricane Milton. Right now, we have it set at a price not to exceed $200,000.
Any questions for staff? Anyone from the audience like to comment on this resolution? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion. Motion.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion needed? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
Okay, Mayor, while we're on this particular subject, Tetra Tech, as I mentioned, is our consultant for Hurricane Ian reimbursement to FEMA. We awarded that contract to them at $160,000 back in November of 2022. And during that time, we had to grant them one change order, which was an extension of time, and another change order, which was an extension of the dollar amount. It went from $160,000 to $169,851.31. It's still taking longer than anticipated because of the process that we have to go through with FEMA. It's a very complicated process. It's quite frustrating. So it's taking more time than we anticipated. So I'm making a request that we increase the contract to the consultant an additional $10,262.69 for a total project cost of $180,114. I wanted to add it on at this time because we're talking about the same subject matter. We have a resolution that Scott could read in by title for your consideration this evening.
Go ahead, Scott.
Resolution 2024-R-106 by title only for first and only reading. Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, approving change order number 3 to Tetra Tech Inc. for disaster public assistance consulting services, extending the period of performance through May 31st, 2025, and increasing the not-to-exceed amount of the agreement to $180,114, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions of staff? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this resolution? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion needed? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
Mayor, before you move on, I just want to ask Val, we have a device for hearing impaired people that may be of use to Mr. Varga if he would like the opportunity to use that.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Now we'll move on to Resolution 2024-R-103.
Resolution number 2024-R-103 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, awarding a task order to Black Sands Development Group for the construction of the Phase 1 3rd Street water main improvements at a cost of $1,061,239.57, and authorizing the city manager to execute the same, providing for severability and providing for an effective date.
No,
This is something different.
Yeah, we can back and correct.
Okay.
Joe, you need to comment on Black Sands?
Yeah, so, I don't know why my microphone's not working. The city's utility master plan identified that galvanized iron pipe within the water distribution system was nearing the end of its useful life and recommended a replacement program. The city's annual utility capital budget includes funding to systematically replace galvanized iron pipe with new water mains made of modern PVC pipe and HDPE pipe, which is high-density polyethylene pipe. Mead Hunt Consulting Engineers was contracted to design and permit the 3rd Street water main improvement and under Resolution 2022 R62. The goal of the project was to replace the existing water mains with new mains to improve water quality, quantity, and pressure with a new, larger 6-inch water loop with 2-inch looped services. The 3rd Street water main improvement project has been designed to be broken up into 4 economical phases with an estimated total cost of construction for all 4 phases to be around $2.5 million. The first phase is the largest and will replace about a half mile of old galvanized iron pipe in the southeast corner of the city's water distribution system that has shown significant fatigue. Specifically, phase 1 includes pipe replacement on Gibbs Avenue, Jeffrey Avenue, Tracy Avenue, and Michael Avenue. The city utility established a utility infrastructure and site restoration service contract earlier this year with Black Sands Development Group under Resolution 2024 R13 for construction services. That resolution is attached for anyone's review. Under the terms of the agreement, Black Sands Development Group has provided an itemized task order to complete Phase 1 of the 3rd Street water main improvement project based on Mead Hunt's engineering plans. The Black Sands Development Group task order for $1,061,239.57 is also attached as Exhibit B. Mead Hunt has reviewed the task order with respect to their plans and found it to be complete to construct the state-permitted improvements. Mead Hunt's task review is attached as Exhibit C for review and will provide construction, engineering, and inspection oversight for the project under the current scope of work.
Thank you. Any questions for Joe?
I have none.
Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Seeing none, we'll close audience participation and entertain a motion for approval.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2024-R103.
We have a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Johnson. Any discussion needed? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
Mayor, I have to make a correction, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Carter brought to my attention that in the document, it does say that meetings will be held at Pictona, That's not necessarily the case. The meetings are going to start out at the large conference room I'm talking in regards to the business association, and then as the membership or participation grows, it'll be moved to Sika Hall. We're intentionally going to try to avoid having meetings over to Pictona to avoid that misconception that it's a Pictona-run program, because it is not. So as the meetings are small, they'll start out here in the large conference room, and hopefully they will grow and we'll be able to move over to Sika Hall as needed. So there is a page in there that mentions Pictona, and I didn't catch it in time to have it changed, but that is the intent.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to Resolution 2024-R-104.
Resolution number 2024-R-104 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, appointing a member to the Police Pension Fund Board of Trustees, setting forth the term and expiration date for said member, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Joe?
So the Police Pension Board, as well as the Fire Pension Board, has 5 members. 2 of the members are selected by members of the pension, and they're typically police officers and firefighters for the respective pensions. Then the City Commission has the ability to appoint 2 members, and of the total of 4, they appoint a 5th member. The term of the existing commission appointments are expiring at the end of this month, and there are 2 members of the board, Kim Lawson and Robert Taylor, who have been serving on that board for a while. Mr. Taylor has decided not to continue serving on the Police Pension Board, although Kim Lawson has. So the resolution right now just has the appointment of Kimberly Lawson as a commission representative to the Police Pension Board. I sent an email out to the commissioners to see if they had any other residents that may be interested, and you could open the floor up to see if there is anyone that, any of the commissioners that have that they'd like to have appointed.
Any commissioners have anyone that's willing to serve on this board?
I do. I asked Terry Wood. He's a resident at Marina Grande. He's got a law enforcement career all his life. He's a volunteer with the Daytona Police Department in patrol. I think he'll be a perfect fit for this, and he said, put me in the game.
Perfect, thank you. Anyone else have any other applicants? Joe, procedurally, do we have to have them fill out an application, or can we just?
You can take action on that this evening, pending the application is complete and qualified. It doesn't take much to qualify to serve on the board. Being a retired former law enforcement officer is great. I'd love it if he was an accountant, that'd be even better. But Mr. Wood would be able to serve if the commission so
And
chooses.
he's already talked to Valerie about the paperwork.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
I think he'd be a great addition.
Me too.
So would you like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we accept Terry Wood as a member of the pension board.
As well as?
Kim
Lawson.
I'm sorry, say the name again.
Kim Lawson.
Kim Lawson, thank you.
Someone like to second that motion?
I second it.
Anyone need to discuss it?
No.
Anyone from the audience like to discuss it? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Now we'll go to the other side of public service. Resolution 2024-R-105.
Resolution number 2024-R-105 by title only for first and only reading. A resolution, City Commission of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, appointing members to the Firefighters Pension Fund Board of Trustees, setting forth the term and expiration date for said members, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
So in this case, we have 2 existing board members that would like to serve. One is Sharon Miller, and she's here in the audience with us today, as well as Michael Moon. They've served on the Police Pension Board on the last term.
Fire.
You said police.
You said.
Did I say police?
You said police.
Fire, on the Fire Pension Fund in this last term. They will be selecting a new 5th member because Jim Bland would like to step down, and once they do select the 5th member, we'll bring that 5th member back to the commission for a ministerial approval.
Perfect. Any questions for Joe?
No.
Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve members Mike Moon and Sharon Miller.
Second?
I second it.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Now we'll move on to item 6, which is 2024-0-3080.
Ordinance number 2024-0-3080 by title only for first reading. An ordinance of the City of Holly Hill, Florida, creating Section 58-135, camping or sleeping on public property prohibited, to comply with Florida Statute Section 125.0231 to prohibit the camping or sleeping on public property under certain terms and conditions, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Anything to add, Joe?
A little bit. So the Florida legislature adopted the Florida Statute 125.0231, which provides counties and municipalities may not authorize or otherwise allow persons to regularly engage in public camping or sleeping on public property, including but not limited to any public building or its grounds, and any public right-of-way under the jurisdiction of the county or the municipality as applicable. The city needs to amend its regulations to comply with this statute. Prior to a recent U.S. Supreme Court ruling, the governing law was that it was a violation of the Eighth Amendment Cruel and Unusual Punishment Clause to enforce anti-camping regulations if the number of homeless people in the jurisdiction exceeded the practically available sheltered beds. However, the U.S. Supreme Court recently ruled in the City of Grant Pass, Oregon versus Johnson that it does not violate the Eighth Amendment to have a structured enforcement process against homeless individuals that starts with warnings and provide homeless with information about available homeless services in the area, and then progressively increase the penalties for continued violations to include fines, trespass warnings, and ultimately arrest, even though there may be sufficient shelter beds in the area for the homeless. This is one of the reasons why we maintain a relationship with the First Step Shelter, is that we have a facility to bring people who are homeless into the safe zone and get them off the street.
Any questions for Joe?
No.
Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve?
Second?
I second it.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I'd like to make it clear to understand that if we don't adopt this, that the city can get have some serious, repercussions from this. It's something that we have to do. I know if anybody's looking at this, when I went into Joe, I'll meet with Joe on Monday mornings, and we had a little bit of a discussion about that. Because, I'm always concerned about people sleeping out on the street, and there might be situations we have to tell them they can't. You can't do that. You have to, we'll have to take them to a homeless shelter, or, I don't know if the chief will have one of his officers take them to a homeless shelter, or what what it'll do. And some people don't want to go do that, but they're going to have to be told, look, you can't sleep here. And it's something we have to adopt. We have to do it just because it gets deep when you look into the law factor of it. I'm not an attorney by no means, but it is. I read a little bit of it until I got tired of reading it, because it does get really deep into some stuff. But it's just something we have to do. I'm sure every one of us have compassion for the homeless, but I don't know if anybody is sitting there going, gosh, we're not going to be able to, somebody that wants to sleep on the park bench or sleep down at Sunrise, why can't we just let them do that? But you can't. It's just something we have to adopt.
It is, and it's another outreach from Tallahassee over our home rule. They passed a law, and we have to comply with it.
Yeah, there you go.
Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Now we'll go to the public hearings. Let's talk about motorcycles. Tattoos.
Sort of.
Tattoos.
I was going to say, I don't think we're talking about motorcycles.
Tattoos on the motorcycle. Tattoos on motorcycles.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission. The Duck Motorcycles is here this evening. They are located on Ridgewood Avenue, specifically at 1533 Ridgewood Avenue. They offer repairs and accessories for motorcycles, and the property has a 3,392 square foot building on it. They are interested in being able to either employ a tattoo artist or being able to rent space for up to 2 tattoo artists at their location. But in order to have a tattoo parlor in the redevelopment overlay, they need to have a special exception. And the special exception needs to meet the provisions of section 114-696, which is in your staff report. And by following those regulations, they would be able to qualify for a special exception if permitted by this board, commission. Currently, the hours of the business are from 8 to 5, Monday through Saturday. However, the hours of a tattoo parlor are permitted from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. in the redevelopment overlay based on the permitted time frames in section 114-696. So that is a possibility that while currently they're maybe 8 to 5, they could in the future expand to 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Additionally, section 82-346 of the Land Development Regulations provides guidance with regard to the reasons why a special exception request can be denied. The reasons for denial and comments from the applicant are addressed in Exhibit B, which is also in your staff report. Staff has reviewed the requirements and applicant responses along with reasons for denial, and the proposal is not inconsistent with any elements of the comprehensive plan, nor will it adversely affect the public interest or create a nuisance. So based on this information, staff does not object to the application for a special exception. Therefore, staff recommends a conditional approval of the special exception for a tattoo parlor on a parcel in the B4 zoning district within the redevelopment overlay. For the property located on the east side of Ridgewood Avenue, approximately 400 feet south of Foment Street, and more specifically known as 1533 Ridgewood Avenue. So the conditions that are suggested for the commission to consider are: 1, a business tax receipt be obtained for the tattoo business prior to operation. That would be one condition. And 2, all of the conditions stated in section 114-696 shall apply to the approval. And that is my presentation.
Any questions for Brian?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Would those long hours have an impact on neighbors? They're open till 11 at night.
Yes, so they would have to be able to conduct business in such a way that they're not exceeding any noise ordinance. And so if they do that, it wouldn't be really any different than any other business in the area that would be open until 11 p.m.
Okay.
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Brian, if memory serves me correctly, and it doesn't always these days as the ages go on, over here, across, kind of catty corner across the street, we did the same thing with that tattoo shop, right?
That's correct, ma'am.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Any other questions for Brian?
The old Crank and Chrome, right?
It's, new name. Thanks, Brian.
Sure.
Anyone from the audience like to discuss this? Applicant like to add anything? Just need to state your name and city you live in.
My name is Abby Hutton, and I live in Daytona Beach. I just wanted to offer to answer any questions or address any concerns if you have any. I am an employee of the Dow.
Anyone have any questions?
I don't.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
And I saw no further hand from the audience for audience participation. So we will entertain a motion for approval.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion needed?
Nope.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Now we'll move on to item 7, which is communications from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So I had sent an email out to the commissioners and the department heads, letting them know of some future work session items, workshop items that I want to hold in January and February. So I want to throw it out here and see if there's any concerns from any of the commissioners. The only difference that what I'd like to do because of the content of the subject is to start the workshops at 4 o'clock rather than 5 o'clock and give us enough time. And I've added a couple of things onto those agendas. For January 14th, we would want to workshop a decorum policy, the Charter Review Committee, and improvements to the YMCA facility. And then on January 28th, discuss the vulnerability study and stormwater projects, along with the Fountainhead project and rezoning of parcel 4, and the renewal of the Waste Pro contract. And then in February, after we kind of get our feet wet a little bit, either the first meeting in February on the 11th or on the 25th, have a goal-setting session with the commission and establish some priorities for the staff over the next, if we could project it out over the next 4 years of the sitting commission, that would be a good step for us to move in.
Okay. Commissioner Curry said, which meeting do you have a problem with?
The 28th. I will be out of town the entire week. I'm missing, well, I'm sorry. My kid moved away and I have to go see my grandkids.
I could bump everything out a meeting.
Could we maybe do the 21st?
I can do whenever you want it.
I mean, is everybody else okay with that, Mayor? I don't mean to be...
Yeah. Anyone have any problem on the 21st?
21st of January?
Yeah.
So let's add it right now. Workshop.
I'm on it.
And what was the date in February, Joe?
The first meeting was the 11th. That if we're prepared, we can do it on the 11th, or we can push that out to the 25th.
21st, we'll have a commission meeting.
On the 11th.
No, not the 21st of January.
Oh,
We have a commission meeting on the 28th, but I'm out of town the entire
oh,
week.
they got it wrong on the calendar. So 21st of January is what we're going to do with that.
If everybody's okay with that, Mayor, that
I
works
think so.
for me.
So at 4 p.m., we'll have a workshop on 114, 121, and 211.
Yes.
Thank you for accommodating my time there. My grandkids will appreciate
Of
it.
course.
What else you got for us, Joe?
That's it for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, I got a few things. Just like to thank all the staff and the leader of our elves, Valerie, for all the work that goes into our parade and the tree lighting ceremony. We had several new employees that were amazed how many people came out to the tree lighting ceremony, and it was very nice, as always. And the weather was beautiful. I think we all got to get out there and not sweat this time, so it was very nice. So thank you for all your hard work, Val, and all your team, the Public Works people that do all the work behind the scenes, and they don't get seen. One thing I want to start doing is, when we start the meetings, we start with an invocation. And so what I'd like to do is in January, start with District 1, then February District 2, 3, 4, I'll ask you to provide an invocation or a guest speaker to provide an invocation for us for the month. So you'll do it
Both meetings.
both meetings of that month. So we'll start with Commissioner Snow in January. And it can be non-denominational, it can be however you want. It can be inspirational. It's your time to just set the tone for our meeting. And I think the purpose of an invocation is to ask for God's presence in this place. And whatever your God is or your higher power is, that's between you and them. And we will be tolerant and respectful of any denominations and anyone that comes to provide it for us. So that's what we expect. And one last thing, I know we've talked about this a while ago, but as elected officials, we have to develop thick skin, and we have to take a certain level of criticism and cynicism and public comments that just sometimes become abusive and ugly. But as city employees, I don't think employees are held to that same level. And I think it's very important that when things are misrepresented and statements are made about employees, whether it's our city manager, our chief of police, or our city clerk, that are undeniably incorrect and false, there has to be some repercussion for that. And I've talked to Mr. Simpson about it, and maybe the time for that discussion is at one of our workshops when we talk about decorum at our public meetings. Because as the chair, according to Robert's rules, there's certain obligations that are put upon me as the chair to run the meeting, as a business meeting. We have to be respectful of everyone's time, but yet allow people to participate in an orderly fashion. And sometimes people want to take away from the order of this meeting. So I've asked Joe so we're gonna come up with some rules at this workshop, so that it's not just my decision, that it's our decision collectively, and that we can stand unanimously as a commission.
Can we go ahead and state what the rules are for public participation at workshops?
That's what we're gonna do. That's.
No, I mean,
right
there's
now?
no,
So the purpose of a workshop is for the city commission to communicate with staff. Throughout the week, each one of us take an hour, 2 hours, some of us 10 hours, to come by and discuss items with the staff and Mr. Forte, preparing for the meeting. I think tonight's agenda was 625 pages long. If you want to fall asleep and not take NyQuil, read it. It will help you sleep, but it's a lot to digest. And we are lay people. We're not experts on stormwater. We're not experts on sewer water. We're not experts on finance. So we rely on our staff to help us with that. But we take time to come and meet with them individually, so we're educated on the topics, so that we can get out of here in a couple of hours instead of staying here till midnight. And so we meet individually because we can't meet collectively except in the sunshine, which is what we're doing now. We hold our meetings in the sunshine. We discuss the city's business in front of the public. We have workshops so that we can have those discussions, so that Joe doesn't have to spend 6 hours with each of us to hear what I think about it. I might want to paint the wall pink, and Commissioner Snow might want to paint the wall blue. And at the end of the day, we come up with blue with pink polka dots. But that's where we have the time to communicate. It's a time for the commission to communicate. It's not time for audience participation. The time for audience participation is either outside the meeting with each of us individually, by phone or email, or meeting in our office, or at the public meeting. And so that's what the workshops are for. I don't want people to come and think that it's a question and answer, because we would be here for days if that's what it was going to be. So hopefully that makes clear what our city workshops are. We typically meet in the large conference room. It's a little less formal, so we can get together and come up with a solution to a problem that we might have.
thank you.
You're welcome. So I go first, but then I let you guys go because I always forget stuff. So since we're going to start with you in January, we'll start with the vice mayor tonight, Mr. Johnson.
What do you want me to say?
Whatever you want to talk about.
Okay.
Tell us what's going on at Volusia Sports Center in beautiful.
Oh, that's a good idea, because that is it's just amazing what it has done for the family recreation in the city of Holly Hill. There's so many kids and families are coming in there to play baseball, football, soccer, softball, and now, as of yesterday, we put together in that big gigantic truck paint booth in the back, we put an indoor golf facility. So now it's a first-class act golf facility. So people can come in and play golf. You can hit the driver all the way to wherever you're going to drive, how far it's going to go. I don't know much about golf. But then you can putt to the hole, you can do the hole, you can play many holes of golf, like 18 holes or whatever, out on the game. And it's.
I think you got Commissioner Snow's attention.
Yes,
You like golf? Good. So, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's been said that we took away recreation from Holly Hill, but we didn't. We actually added recreation to Holly Hill. We've done so great. Look at what Flight Gymnastics has done. They got probably 500 members of little kids coming in and do gymnastics and Ninja Warrior things and things like that, and all is so great. And look, I mean, super great how quick Pictona took off, and we ride around it sometime at night in the golf cart and things and look, and people in there playing like hours of the night and things. It's really a great thing. And in the Riviera golf thing, I mean, I didn't really have an idea how big it was until you put the golf package together a while back. We went up and we were running around the golf courses. It is big. It's as big as most anybody's golf course. That's a great thing. And also we're doing so much. I mean, it just makes me feel good that the city of Holly Hill is by far the leader of all of the sports facilities in Central Florida. All of them. Nobody else has it. We have everything inside, so the weather don't even affect it or anything, you know. It's just a great thing. So the negativity is down, the positivity is up. We're doing great, and the sports things are doing great, and people are really loving it. I mean, all of them love it. Everybody praises and says they just can't believe how nice it is to do it, come in and do the places. And all of them are doing really good. I mean, even the YMCA, they're doing really great. And also, I would say that the city of Holly Hill right now, as best I can do by looking and see what's going on, they're the leader of the family sports in all of Central Florida. And I believe including Orlando. And then I see where Daytona now is thinking about building a gigantic sports facility out on 92, like hundreds of millions of dollars. They're going to put it in a big sports facility and going to kind of incorporate it and help get Pictona to help them run it, which is a great thing, you know what I mean? I like that. So I think it's doing great, and I hear the lies, I hear the things going on, but it doesn't bother me, and I don't care. I mean, if somebody pushes me out of this job, big deal. I got another job. You know what I mean? You know, I paid the IRS $95,000 last year, and what did I collect out of the city of Holly Hill? About maybe $5,000, $6,000 at the most. You know, of a total amount of money or whatever it is, which I just give it away anyway. But still in all, it's not going to hurt me if I get out. I'm here to help others and try to do what I can for others. I mean, I put $1 million of my own money in that sports facility up there. I don't get anything out of it except to just watch the little kids come in and have fun. My own grandson, that's where he learns to play. They have instructors that teach the kids exactly how to hit, how to pitch, how to do everything and all. And it's got to have something to do with it, because his team is by far number one in the state of Florida on his age group, and he is the number one on the team. So it's got to have something to connect to how that we're putting the sports facility together in Holly Hill. I think no matter how much negativity gets spread out, how many lies get spread out and all, it don't bother me a bit. Bounces right off me. I don't really care. I just feel so much better. I've gained so much ground since it started. You know, since all it started against me, I don't care. You know, I learned to live with it. And if somebody wants to push me out, let somebody else come in and do it, as long as it's somebody that'll do a better job. I don't care. But I really honestly think that the city of Holly Hill is so far advanced over what it was quite a few years ago. And I hear these things about all the time on these videos about Ricky Glass had sex with some lady at some invalid home or something. I was the mayor. I'm the one who was responsible for anything to do with Rick Glass at the time when that happened. So I would be to blame if anything wrong. There was not even any charges filed against him. How can somebody come up and say that this actually happened and did it, and he's dead and can't even defend himself? That's pretty low life as far as I'm concerned, you know what I mean? When people do something like that. And maybe I say things I shouldn't, and maybe I'll get repercussions from it, and I don't really care. I'm 85 years old. Who gives a crap, you know? I mean, I'm 85 years old and got stage 4 cancer. What are they going to do to me now, you know? Put me in hospice? But that's about all I have to say. I'm positive, believe me. I'm not negative. I've gained ground since it all started. You know what I mean?
Great.
Go, Jeff.
Commissioner Delanoy, what you got for us?
I thought it was just a great week. Valerie, that was so much work you do. It is phenomenal. Yeah, I know, I've worked here 13 years, so I know, but you are the head of it all. Without you, I don't know what they're gonna do when you retire. I don't know. I'm hoping you're training somebody, because there's a lot to it. But I had a great time, and I'm sure everybody else did. It was fun. I got all my grandkids. If anybody's seen me, I was, had all the grandkids in the truck. They all had a
They
great
just kept
time.
coming. How many you got? There we go.
That wasn't all of them. I couldn't get, a couple of them, other ones wanted to ride. I said, well, come on, but there's, they just didn't want to sit in the truck. I said, well, you can't sit on the back. I can't leave the tailgate down, But anyway, all my grandkids had a great time. They keep talking about it. And, it was just a great week. And, I'm with Roy. I mean, a lot of things have changed. I was a negative person on Holly Hill for a few years back in the day when a lot of things were happening, but Holly Hill has come a long ways. Long ways it's came. And it really is, really a star, shining, and maybe that's why a lot of the negativity is coming, because every time you get something that's bright, somebody tries to dim it. But other than that, I just, hopefully everybody's going to have a good holiday. I'm not going to see anybody till after Christmas, anybody in the audience. So just Merry Christmas, or Happy Holidays, however you want to put it. Just appreciate everything that's going on.
Thank you, sir.
That's about it.
Commissioner Curry.
Thank you. And my granddaughter loved it so much last year. My little 6-year-old granddaughter called me, FaceTimed me, wanted to ride in the truck with me, and then wanted me to, I drained my battery because she didn't want me hanging up. She wanted to watch the whole parade too. So grandkids love that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to say thank you, Valerie, to you and your team, the staff. You guys did another phenomenal job with the tree lighting, with the parade. The bands were awesome. I'd like to thank the chief and your people for connecting with Gary Yeoman to get us all those nice-looking trucks to ride in. We appreciate you doing that. Huh? Oh, I know. I didn't mean purchase them. They loaned them to us. We don't have 5 brand-new trucks sitting around City Hall. If we do, somebody messed up. And I want to remind everybody, I don't know if you were going to do this, Mayor, there is no meeting on Christmas Eve. We canceled that back, I don't know, a month or two ago when we did Thanksgiving time.
We did?
You don't remember that? We did.
I was planning on being here.
So we won't see, well, you go ahead. You can be here. We won't see you until the first meeting in January. So I would like to say to everybody, Merry Christmas. I hope you have safe and healthy holidays, and can spend time with your family. I know that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be freezing to do it, but got to see them grandbabies. Also, Joe, can you give a quick update on the debris hauling and where we're at? I know the young lady that was here is gone, but maybe you guys talked to her or something?
So we'd gotten an email that the debris hauler had completed the project. We sent the monitoring company out, and they found a number of locations that were not picked up, so the debris hauler went back out this week to finish that up. The mulching of the material over on Walker is complete. They're going to be hauling the mulch material off.
They got a lot of large piles there.
Yeah, there's a lot of mulch that came out of that material. I already sent an email off to Waste Pro and to Redmond Consulting to have the property at 711 Grove looked at tomorrow to see if we can get that C&D picked up for her.
Thank you.
So I already sent that email off. So right now, the debris hauler is done. The mulching is just about done, getting ready to be hauled off. So everything right now is turned back over to Waste Pro.
Thank you. And so maybe if you guys talk to her or whatever, and I have nothing else, but let me say quickly, I do appreciate when the audience comes in here, gives us your feedback. We know many of you are frustrated, and we are trying to do everything we can. It's on the schedule. It's government, and unfortunately, government is not fast at anything, I don't think. That's one thing the two of you are going to learn. It's very frustrating. It's a frustrating thing, because government doesn't move as fast as we want it to move. But other than that, thank everybody again. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I'll see you in January.
Thank you. Commissioner Snow.
I just want to say that I haven't been in a Christmas parade since I was 8 years old, and my father was the post commander at the American Legion, and I got to ride in the car, so it was a thrill. And the people out there who said, thank you, Merry Christmas, and the kids who were cheering us on, it was just quite an experience. So thank you for that, and Valerie, reiterate what you and the staff do for us on those events. Yes.
Yeah.
And happy holidays to everyone. Whatever you celebrate, I hope it's a good holiday, and let's have the best, healthiest, happiest New Year for 2025.
Thank you. Scott, I forgot to ask you if you had anything, but you normally never say anything.
I was just going to say, everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and safe holidays, and I hope I see everybody Saturday.
Perfect. Joe, one thing, I haven't gotten a complaint about it because I don't know if anyone's noticed. I know you're working on it. But something that's been on our City Hall building for at least 50 years is the neon Merry Christmas sign. And when we tried to light it up, 2 of the letters were broken, and I understand it's under repair, but is it going to be fixed before Christmas?
It may be fixed before Christmas. It wasn't going to get done before the lighting ceremony, but, you know, that neon light has been there for a number of years, and I think it's seen its day. And if the commission
Might need to replace with LED, it's so much cheaper.
That's what I was going to say. If the commission wants us to continue the tradition of having a year-round Merry Christmas on the government building, we can certainly do that, but I would suggest that we do it in a LED light rather than neon light. So after this season, we'll talk about it. Some people don't mind that it's up there, some people do. It's been there for as long as I can remember. So we'll figure it out after this season.
Mayor, maybe when we're talking about that, we can talk about what we want to do with the parade next year as far as the commission.
Okay, yeah. That'd be a whole nother workshop.
Yeah, because we won't be able to agree in 15 minutes on anything.
So, without anything further, I'm just going to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. God bless you all.
Hey,
Night.
Mayor, just one more thing.
Yes, sir.
Thank your dad for bringing us all the candy.
Oh, that was compliments of UBI Seafood.
But he did all the legwork.
Yeah, he got it. Thank you.